What if everything we know about ancient history is wrong? Right now, scattered across the globe, there are ruins so impossibly precise, so technologically advanced, that modern scientists can't explain how they were built. Not with copper tools, not with primitive methods, not by people who supposedly hadn't even invented the wheel yet. Some of these sites predate recorded civilization by thousands of years. Others were carved from solid mountains using techniques we can't replicate today. And one, buried beneath miles of ice, shouldn't exist at all. These are 8 ancient ruins that still baffle science. And I'm warning you now, stick around for number 1, because what's hidden inside the Great Pyramid will completely change how you see human history. Plus, the bonus site at the end? It's literally frozen in time, and it might rewrite everything we thought we knew about who lived on Earth before us. Alright, let's start at number 8. High in Lebanon's mountains sits something that shouldn't be possible. The Temple of Baalbek looks Roman at first glance. Beautiful columns, ancient architecture. But underneath those Roman ruins is something far older, far stranger, and completely unexplainable. 3 massive limestone blocks called the Trilithon. Each one weighs 800 tons. That's 1.6 million pounds, heavier than a Boeing 747. And they're fitted together with such precision that you can't slide a piece of paper between them. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. Nearby in the quarry lies an even bigger stone called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. It weighs 1,200 tons. That's the largest carved stone in human history. Modern cranes can't lift half that weight. Yet somehow, thousands of years ago, ancient builders moved these monsters uphill and placed them perfectly on uneven ground, without steel, hydraulics, or any technology we'd recognize. The Romans? They documented everything, but their construction manuals never mention moving stones this massive. When engineers studied the tool marks, they found evidence of something much older than Rome, maybe thousands of years older. Which means there was a culture in Lebanon with engineering capabilities that surpass what we can do today. Some call it inherited technology, a platform built by a forgotten civilization that mastered stone manipulation in ways we've never recovered. Local legends say gods landed here. Engineers whisper about acoustic levitation or vibration techniques that could make stone temporarily lighter. Whatever the truth, Baalbek's megaliths stand as proof. Someone knew something we don't, and their secret is still locked in those stones. Imagine diving off the coast of Japan and discovering what looks like an underwater city. That's exactly what happened in 1987 when a local diver found the Yonaguni Monument, a massive stepped structure sitting 80 feet below the Pacific Ocean. And I'm not talking about random rocks. This thing has terraces, staircases, flat platforms, and what appear to be roads and courtyards. It stretches nearly 500 feet across the seafloor, carved with 90-degree angles and perfectly smooth walls. Geologists are split down the middle. Some insist it's natural, just tectonic fractures and erosion that happen to create right angles and staircases by accident. But marine geologist Dr. Masaki Kimura has spent decades studying the site, and he's convinced the precision is too perfect. Nature doesn't make corners this clean or steps this uniform. Now here's the timeline that makes this absolutely mind-blowing. If Yonaguni is man-made, it has to be over 10,000 years old, because that's when sea levels rose after the last ice age, which means this structure would predate every known civilization in East Asia. It would be older than the pyramids, older than Mesopotamia, older than written history itself. So who built it? Was it a temple? A ceremonial platform? A lost city swallowed by rising seas? No artifacts have been found, no inscriptions, no proof either way. But divers who've explored Yonaguni describe something eerie, massive stone staircases descending into the blue void, leading nowhere, as if the ocean swallowed a world we never knew existed. Natural or not, Yonaguni forces us to ask, how far back does human civilization really go? If you've ever tried to move furniture up a flight of stairs, imagine doing this. Transport 300-ton boulders up a mountain, 12,000 feet above sea level, across rough Andean terrain. without wheels, without iron tools, without cranes, and then fit them together so perfectly that a razor blade can't slide between them. Welcome to Sacsayhuamán. Perched above the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, these zigzagging megalithic walls look like something sculpted by gods. And that's exactly what Spanish conquistadors thought when they arrived in the 1500s. They couldn't believe humans built it. Some literally wrote that it must have been giants. The stones don't just sit on top of each other, they interlock like a three-dimensional puzzle. No mortar, no gaps. And here's the genius part. The walls were designed to flex during earthquakes. They absorb seismic shocks like a shock absorber, which is why they've stood for centuries while modern buildings crumble. Archaeologists credit the Inca, who were master stonemasons. But recent studies reveal something strange. The smallest stones are at the top, clearly added later by the Inca. But the largest foundation blocks, the truly impossible ones, may have been there long before the Inca ever arrived. That means the Inca might have inherited Sacsayhuamán from an even older culture, one with knowledge of geology, physics, and engineering that we're only beginning to understand. Whether it was a fortress, a temple, or something else entirely, Sacsayhuamán proves one thing. Ancient builders in South America possessed techniques we can barely comprehend, let alone replicate. If Sacsayhuamán is impressive, Puma Punku is downright impossible. Picture this. Nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, in the thin air of Bolivia's high plateau, lies a site so precise it looks like it was machined in a factory. Massive blocks of andesite and red granite, each weighing tens of tons, cut with perfect right angles, smooth drill holes, and interlocking shapes so exact that not even a razor's edge fits between them. And here's the kicker. Engineers who've studied these stones say the cuts look like they were made with high-speed rotary tools or diamond-tipped saws. Except these materials are harder than steel. You'd need industrial equipment to carve them today. Yet Puma Punku is estimated to be up to 15,000 years old, built long before the Inca, long before metallurgy, and long before the wheel even existed in South America. So how did they do it? Local Amara legends say a god named Viracocha descended from the sky and taught humans engineering, agriculture, and language before disappearing back into the heavens. Most scientists dismiss it as myth, but some researchers wonder, what if the legend preserves a memory of a lost high-tech civilization, wiped out by some ancient cataclysm? Excavations have turned up strange magnetic anomalies and stone fragments that appear to have been shaped with extreme heat, as if melted or softened before being cut. Was this lost technology, or just human genius pushed to its absolute limit? No one knows. But Puma Punku's scattered stones lie in silent testimony to a civilization whose capabilities and whose disappearance still defy every explanation we have. Beneath the streets of modern Malta lies a secret. In 1902, workers accidentally broke through a hidden entrance and discovered an underground labyrinth carved entirely from solid limestone, the Hypogeum of Saflieni. This isn't just a cave. It's a three-level architectural masterpiece descending deep into the earth. Chambers, corridors, and ritual halls carved with such precision that it rivals anything built above ground. And at its heart sits the Oracle Room. This small chamber has perfectly smooth walls that resonate at exactly 110 Hz. Modern acoustic engineers have tested it, and that frequency does something extraordinary. It alters brainwave patterns and can induce trance-like states in people who enter. Was this an accident, or did ancient builders design this room specifically to alter human consciousness during rituals? The Hypogeum is over 5,000 years old, older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yet no one knows who built it. There are no records, no tools were found. And the biggest mystery of all, how did they carve these walls in total darkness, hundreds of feet underground, without artificial light or iron tools? Archaeologists found the remains of over 7,000 people inside, carefully arranged in ritual burial. But why here? Why underground? What were they doing in these resonant chambers? For decades, the Hypogeum was open to tourists, until mysterious incidents forced officials to close it. Visitors reported hearing voices, feeling disoriented, and experiencing vivid hallucinations inside the Oracle Room. Today, access is strictly limited. Only a handful of people are allowed in each day. What's really down there? A tomb? A temple? Or a machine designed to connect the living with something beyond? The Hypogeum isn't just a ruin, it's a portal into a past we've barely begun to understand. Everything we thought we knew about the origin of civilization is wrong, and the proof is buried in the Turkish highlands at a site called Göbekli Tepe, which translates to Belly Hill. This is the oldest temple complex ever discovered. It predates the wheel, it predates writing, it predates pottery, agriculture, and cities. It even predates the pyramids by over 6,000 years. Göbekli Tepe dates to 9600 BCE. Let me repeat that. 9600 BCE. That's over 11,000 years ago, a time when, according to mainstream archaeology, humans were still nomadic hunter-gatherers, living in caves with no written language and no organized society. Yet someone planned, quarried, transported, and erected massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some over 20 feet tall and weighing 20 tons, carved with intricate reliefs of foxes, lions, vultures, and serpents. These aren't crude scratches. They're sophisticated artworks depicting animals, symbols, and abstract designs that suggest a complex belief system, maybe even a written language we haven't yet deciphered. But here's what makes Göbekli Tepe truly bizarre. There's no evidence anyone lived there. No houses, no wells, no trash heaps. It wasn't a city, it was a sanctuary, a meeting place for ritual and ceremony, a temple that existed before gods even had names. And then, around 8000 BCE, the builders deliberately buried the entire complex under thousands of tons of dirt and rubble. They intentionally covered it up and walked away. Why would you build something this monumental and then hide it forever? Some researchers think it was an act of reverence. Others suspect fear, that something happened, something catastrophic, and they buried Göbekli Tepe to protect it or to seal it away. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. There was a sophisticated, organized culture 11,000 years ago capable of monumental architecture, and we have no idea who they were or what happened to them. Göbekli Tepe isn't just a ruin, it's a contradiction, a paradox carved in stone that shatters the timeline we thought we understood. And it forces us to ask, what else is still buried out there? Most temples are built from the ground up, stone by stone, block by block. But the Kailasa temple at Ellora Caves in India, it was carved downward from a single mountain of solid volcanic basalt. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't a building. It's a sculpture the size of a cathedral, hollowed out of one continuous piece of rock. Every pillar, every corridor, every statue, every courtyard, all part of the same mountain. There are no joints, no seams, no assembly required. Archaeologists estimate that over 400,000 tons of rock were removed to create this masterpiece. And here's the truly insane part. No one knows where all that rock went. There's no debris pile, no quarry nearby. It's as if it just vanished. And there are no records describing how it was done. No blueprints, no tools left behind, no ancient accounts of the construction process. The entire temple seems to have appeared fully formed, carved with impossible precision, using only copper chisels and stone hammers, which, by the way, are softer than the volcanic basalt they're supposedly cutting through. Traditional historians say it might have taken a century to complete. But local legends tell a very different story, that King Krishna I ordered it built in a single lifetime, and that divine beings aided its creation, completing it overnight. Now, whether you believe that or not, here's what's undeniable. The Kailasa temple's geometry is flawless. The central shrine is perfectly aligned with celestial axes. The design is balanced in absolute symmetry, despite being hollowed from the top down, which is honestly the riskiest possible way to carve stone. One mistake would have ruined the entire structure, yet there are no mistakes, no cracks, no corrections, just mathematical perfection cut through volcanic rock. Even today, with modern drills, lasers, and computer-aided design, engineers admit they couldn't replicate Kailasa's precision using the same primitive tools the ancients supposedly had. So how did they do it? No one knows. But every chisel mark whispers of knowledge we've forgotten and skills we can't explain. And now, number 1, the most famous, most studied, and most baffling structure in human history. The Great Pyramid of Giza. You've seen it in photos, you've heard the theories, but do you really understand how utterly impossible this thing is? Built over 4,500 years ago, it rises nearly 480 feet tall and is made of 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2 and 80 tons. To put that in perspective, if you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you'd need to place one 2.5-ton block every 2 minutes for 20 years straight to finish the pyramid on schedule. But it's not just the scale, it's the precision. The 4 sides align to true north within 1/15 of a degree. That's a level of accuracy only achievable with modern surveying equipment or technology we don't recognize. The base is nearly a perfect square, and the difference in length between the longest and shortest sides, less than 2 inches, out of a base measuring over 750 feet. And here's where it gets absolutely wild. The Great Pyramid sits at the exact geographical center of Earth's landmass. Its meridian crosses more land and ocean than any other longitude or latitude line on the planet. Coincidence? Or was it placed there on purpose? Now let's talk about the math encoded in its dimensions. The ratio of its height to its base perimeter equals pi to an astonishing degree of accuracy, 3.14159. The ancient Egyptians weren't supposed to know pi. It wasn't discovered until the Greeks came along over 2,000 years later. The pyramid also encodes phi, the golden ratio, in the relationship between its height and its slope. That's another mathematical constant the Egyptians supposedly didn't know. Inside, the king's chamber, the grand gallery, and the mysterious air shafts all align with key stars, Orion's belt, Sirius, and others. It's as if the entire structure was designed as a map of the heavens, locking in the positions of stars from thousands of years ago. Even the internal chambers resonate at specific sound frequencies, amplifying and manipulating acoustics in ways modern engineers are only now beginning to understand. So what was it really for? Mainstream Egyptology says it's a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. But here's the problem. No mummy was ever found inside. No treasure, no hieroglyphics describing its construction, no records explaining how or why it was built. Was it an observatory? An energy generator? A cosmic antenna? A resurrection machine? After centuries of study, the Great Pyramid remains a riddle wrapped in stone, a monument that proves beyond any doubt that ancient builders knew far more than we give them credit for. And maybe, just maybe, more than we know today. Alright, here's the mystery I teased at the start, and I'll warn you, this one goes deep. Literally. Deep beneath miles of Antarctic ice, something is hidden. In recent years, radar scans and satellite imaging have revealed strange formations buried far below the frozen surface. Right angles, domes, grid-like patterns that look too orderly to be natural. Some scientists dismiss them as geological oddities, just ice and rock shaped by tectonic pressure. But others aren't so sure, because these shapes look like ruins. Ancient ruins. Structures that would have been built more than 12,000 years ago, before the last pole shift, when Antarctica wasn't frozen at all, but covered in forests and rivers. If that's true, it means human-like architecture existed at the bottom of the world long before any known civilization. Leaked expedition reports and private research teams claim to have found metallic anomalies, pyramid-shaped ridges, and even tunnels stretching for miles under the ice. A few whisper about ground-penetrating radar images showing what look like walls and staircases, fossilized in ice. Officially, the region is off-limits. The Antarctic Treaty restricts access, and scientists can only study the surface. But every year, more thermal readings and satellite data seem to confirm the impossible. Something large, ancient, and artificial is buried under Antarctica. Could this be the final remnant of a lost world? The origin of global flood myths? The real Atlantis? No one can prove it yet. But as the planet warms and the ice slowly recedes, Antarctica may finally reveal what it's been hiding for millennia. And when it does, the history books will have to be rewritten. Until then, this frozen continent remains Earth's last great mystery, where the line between legend and science blurs in the cold. 9 ruins. One question that haunts them all: Did our ancestors know something we've forgotten? Or are we only now beginning to rediscover what they left behind? These structures weren't accidents. They weren't primitive. They were designed with knowledge. Knowledge that challenges everything we think we understand about human history. Maybe one day, science will explain them. But until then, they stand as proof that the past is far stranger, far older, and far more advanced than we've been taught. If this journey through the impossible fascinated you, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me, which of these ruins do you think holds the biggest secret? Because somewhere out there, buried in ice, hidden underwater, or waiting in the desert, another discovery is coming. And when it surfaces, we'll be here to ask the question that matters most. Should I go?